All right, so let's get this stream a moving here. So I started building a flying boat. I'm very much in a building mood. I'm usually ahead on my videos, so I'm currently, currently in my world, in my time frame, I finished up or not finished up, but I got the Akrana plan in pretty good shape. I'm doing a bunch of stuff as well. In pretty good shape, so I went right into building something else. And so I'm just doing a bunch of things while I do this. And so in my world, I finished up the Akrana plan, or at least got into the career build series, and I immediately started working on a flying boat. And so I started doing the flying boat off screen, and I figured, this would be good for live stream. So let's go ahead and let's get back to it. Kind of the notions of this flying boat is I want it to be kind of like the old flying boat classes, you know, back in post World War II, kind of taking like the Sunderland and stuff like that. And so let's see if I can't find it. So I want it to be large, and I want it to be able to hold a couple containers. Now the containers could be problematic, so I got the nose done. It's going to be kind of a little bit more of modern design, but also kind of retro. And so I got the nose design done. It's going to be interesting trying to get this to work the way I want it to work. I think it's going to be a tail dragger. I think it's going to have a split nose, and then the container is going to drop out. I'm not 100% sure yet because, yeah, the clipper is exactly, Jason, I kind of want it like the clippers. And actually, can I make these? No. Okay, I'm just trying to see if I could square these off. I might be able to change that shape a little bit, but anyway, so what I actually did is if you look at this, you see the color. This is actually the Akranaplan's cockpit. And if we go in here, you can see it's just a cut and paste of the Akranoplan's cockpit. So I'm, doing little things like that. I'm trying to expedite things a little bit and have some systems that will allow me to build a little bit quicker. And so I'm just kind of working with that and trying to get this in. But, I wanted a large vehicle. And so kind of what the thought process with this will be is it's going to be one of those Clipper seaplanes, flying boats. I'm also going to make it so that it can land on land, but that's certainly not going to be its home environment. And then it's going to have an upper deck that's going to be cockpit and living quarters. And then I need that at least. Where's my... That goes right there, I think. Okay, so that just covers that. So I can go in one maybe. Kind of just trying to get these angles completed here. And so, I'd like to be able to try to transport some cargo containers. The way that the devs did this can kind of be problematic. That's not, that's kind of ugly. The way the devs kind of did this can be problematic is I really wish they would have made it so that you could land some air vehicles places and actually utilize them more. You kind of get to the point where you can't. So what I mean by that is like you can't really easily move containers via plane. Planes are pretty useless in game unless they're seaplanes. So kind of have to make some seaplanes. Now I decided I wasn't going to do that. Let me see. I'll go one more and then I'll wall out. I'm just trying to get my walls set here. Again, part of my building methodology is I try to get the functionality of the vehicle going first, because if I can get it functional, I can get it. Then I know I'm in business. If I try to do it form factor first, and I realize something's not going to work, I'm in deep trouble. I have to kind of do it. Function first, then form is kind of the way I tend to do it. And that way, if I run into any problems, I can kind of either change or abandon it before I get too used to that. All right, so I'm just trying to determine my upper deck walls here. And so I should have some pretty good space here. So a lot of this is me trying to figure out the mechanics of this. Like, for example, I need to make sure that the... Oh, I'm up too high. All right. Yep, I'm up one block too high. All right. So I need to make sure the mechanics of this are going to actually work for me. Before I go ahead and spend, 100 hours working on this and then realize, oh, that's not going to work and that's not going to work, and then, nope, it won't fly, So I try to get it to a state where it functions, it flies, it does what it needs to do, and then I kind of go back and do a little form factor. So right now what I'm doing is I'm building this upper deck because I want to get that tail shaped. I don't have a ton of space, but these clippers were very boxy, and so that should be enough for tail space. I want to be able to hold two containers. I have ample space in here. These can move forward a little if they need to. But I'm trying to kind of get ahead and get onto the wing design. The wing is going to be very important for me to make sure that works, so I kind of want to get to that reasonably early. And so a lot of this is just trying to get the generalized shape of this going. I want to make sure my living quarters are large enough. These living quarters are just going to be about one block wider than on the Akrana plan, which those videos are still coming out this week, so you'll see me get that up and finished for the week. Quote unquote finished, to the point where it's in the career build series game actually, and I can use it for missions. So I kind of wanted to get that to there before I start doing this, and then that allows me to get in here. So like if you ever seen the inside of an Antonov 225, they actually kind of do the angle down here, but I don't want to do that. It's just wasted space, and I kind of actually want to close it a little bit more. I'll probably actually drop this deck down one. It's a little bit cramped. I don't mind it being cramped. I actually kind of want that 2-block height because I want to be able to do a crane system in there. But I want to get to this wing design, try to flesh that out. Again, I need to have the necessary components in before I, because I want to be able to flight test and everything else before I get too far with anything else like decoration. And so I'm trying to get to the wing here, so I'm just so kind of, it's kind of inspired by the Shorts Sangraham or Sunderland, you know, somewhat, it's a little bit more modern of a nose design, but it's going to be a tail dragger. And so I'm going to have a kind of a forward wing, kind of like the Sunderland and Sangraham had. But I'm just trying to see where I'm placing this wing. It's all, it's very much also going to be my design, so completely blocked the stream with my tab. Welcome everybody who just got on. And so trying to get this going, I love, so the doors up here are going to be very interesting to get those to work. Those are going to be a little bit of a struggle. And so I should be able to pull it off, but it's going to be a challenge. So that's definitely an area that's going to be something interesting that I have to do. What is this? What is all this under here? What are you down here? You are, okay, you're my floor. Okay, that is supposed to stick. That can go. Okay, I was wondering why there was extra stuff there. So essentially what I'm thinking is this is going to be a tail dragger, so I'm going to have two very large landing gear. The wings are going to be very fat. I want big, fat wings. I want to be able to hide plenty of stuff in there, and I want them to be proportional to the body, but also that will allow me to hide the landing gear. It's going to be a tail dragger, and what's going to happen is this section here is going to essentially from like here to, oh, I don't know, like there, that's going to clamshell. So this and the other side will clamshell open. The containers will be carried via carriage on the top out here and then drop down to the ground. And that way, so the plan is to be able to drop these. The other thought I had is top loading them, but the problem is I lose my living space. I'd like to run living space all the way down the back here. And if I have to put an elevator, which I was thinking put an elevator and have it raise out of the top, but then I still need to get close enough to the dock to empty it out. So I have some thoughts on this. The other thing is make a ramp. The problem is I'd have to start the ramp here, right here, because of this block. And so I'm going to end up going up through the cockpit, so that's not going to work. The Sangraham has a further back cockpit. I could push it back, but I don't want to. I want it out front like a modern aircraft, so I think I should be able to get it right. I'm probably going to do a little bit lower. I think I'm going to do a little bit lower wing design. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. So I'm going to put up boxes. So I actually kind of want to get this exterior finished a little bit. I'm trying to see if I can't make this a little bit smoother on this side. So let me look. Let me see if I can't do some pyramid work here. See, that converts it to, as you go down, you actually convert to other units. So, like, see, this will convert to 1x2s. Yeah, so I actually don't mind a flat side. Most of that's gonna be wings. So I'm kind of looking. I still have plenty of tail room. I'm trying to see where I could do a centralized wing. That's kind of more where I'd like it. But I need to have the gear ahead of the center of gravity because it's going to be a tail dragger. Let me see. I'm just reading chat. Yeah, Spectralosis. Go ahead and put that in. Let me, I'll send you the link right now. It's under creation review. Let me just, I wish I could set it on Discord so I didn't have to redo the link every time because it makes me have to reset the link. There's the link for the creation review. Just put it in there. I do them in order, so I'm probably a couple videos out on that. But so let's try to think of the wings. So the gear has to be ahead of the center of gravity or else it will tip over on its nose. Now, especially on this vehicle, it's going to have to be ahead because if you think about it, as I slide these containers forward, it's just my center of gravity. So I either need to put a foot which you actually do get that sometime. Yeah, it's going to be high wing. I'm just trying to determine how high I want it. I'm actually thinking I'm going to do some massive wings, and I might do them all the way up to this deck here. And the reason is I can actually utilize them for some space. So I'm trying to think where I want to go. So let's find the floor. So let's find the floor here. So the floor is actually there. Perfect. All right, let's start shaping the wing. I can always move it if I need to. Yeah, I definitely want a high wing. Again, it's going to look kind of like the shorts, Sunderland and Sangraham, as you can see. That's kind of where I'm looking for the wing. Yeah, some of I want it integrated so that I can go into the wing. It's going to be a big fat old wing. Part of the reason too is I'm going to put, this is going to be 4 engines. I was thinking of 6 engines, but just for funsies. But so I'm thinking that I want a little bit of headspace. So I'm going to start with a very fat wing, and so I'm trying to. Trying to think how to start. So I'm actually going to start the wing on the outside here, and then I'm going to mate it after I get it kind of designed. So let's say, I don't know, there. Let's undo that. Let's just go like this for now, and then I'll build my wing up off that. And so the front of the wing is going to be here. It's going to be a symmetrical wing. There's nothing wrong with a symmetrical shaped wing. Part of my aerodynamics training was, you do have a bunch of symmetrical wings on aircraft. Symmetrical wing works fine. You just need something to cause a change in the angle of attack of the wing. So there's nothing wrong with symmetrical wings. And so the more gradual I can make this transition, the kind of the better this will be. And then I want a good flat section in this wing that I can cut into because I need to put the engines in. So I'm thinking 4 engines. Probably not counter-rotating prop. So that's kind of the shape I'm thinking, kind of the positioning, and then they'll trail off a little bit. So down here is going to be the trail off section. So I'm not going to get to that yet. And then, these were very straight wings. These were just post World War II. You had very straight section wings. So I might do 1x4s just to give it a little bit of a sweep, but something like this, you really don't want a ton of sweep. I want a hair sweep just because it allows you to actually integrate the engines, and you can have the propeller blades behind the other propeller blades. So let's see if this will help me here. There we go. It's not going to have that much sweep. That's excessive, but might just kind of do a straight wing. Let me see what a straight wing looks like. The back's going to be tapered, which means XML editing. So I'm trying to think. I'm going to kind of eyeball it right there. Switch to 4s. So we'll do the leading edge of the front of the wing is going to be flat. And then I think get into, just trying to get this to drag right. There we go. That would be the back side of the wing. Yeah, it's abrupt, so I don't want that abrupt. So we're going to keep going straight wing. So it's going to be straight front section, definitely. And let's work on the wing tip. So the wing tip is going to have to kind of curve around. If you look at if we look at our wing design here, we have a nice flat wing here. And then a very gradual curve on the right side. And then we have a tiny bit of sweep in the back, and then it curves out. So that's kind of that old school late 40s, 50s design. Oh, I see somebody in there. That's Tim's talking nonsense. I am a fan of a gradual curve. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of a tapering there. Let's start tapering. All right, let's get this here. I'll be in and out of chat, so yeah, I'll try to catch up every once in a while. But all right, so that's good there. And then because I'm starting to run out of space here, there's a very gradual turn on this, so have to just kind of try out some shapes here and then see where we're at. And this is always a pain, especially as you get towards the end of the zone. So I'm trying to make this as big as the base will allow, and as you can see, it doesn't like me to do it. So let's do this. Game likes it if you kind of put a cheat section there that this can grab onto. So just gonna stick that there, and then I can delete that at will, and then grab a new one. Here we go. All right, and then I'm going to probably have to start going one bys here. Then I'll probably end up XML editing an aileron at the end of the day. I've seen some people do some swept ailerons that look pretty good, so I think that's kind of what I'm looking to do is do a swept aileron. So this is going to be massive. Let me just check something really quick, world. Okay, so this lets me get out of the hangar. That was important to check. And of course, this section is going to taper in here, so we'll get that fixed here. Let me check chat. Yeah, there might be some stuff in the wings. I would like to have a crawl space in the wing. Yeah, I've seen the Hughes H4, the Hercules. I'll bring it up so other people can see it here really quick. I'm not a huge fan of the look of the Hercules. Like certain elements of it I like. I don't care for the wing. The wing is just I don't like the forward sweep taper on it. It's kind of plain. It's a little bit plain Jane on it. Awfully squared off. I much prefer like the Sangraham and the Sunderland's wing. Like this has a little bit more character. It's going to have somewhat more of it has this bulbous shape where the Hercules is just so long that it has more of a modern, sleek design. I'm kind of looking for a little bit of a fatter design just because of the. Oh, thank you, KW94. Appreciate that. Yeah, I didn't build it there just because I'm trying to make sure that I can park this in a hangar. I'm trying to make sure that I can access this everywhere, so that's why I decided to build it here. Want to make sure I can access it in the because I want to be able to land this places. I want this to be an everywhere vehicle, and so I kind of wanted to check, make sure this would fit there. So let's go ahead and let's expect. I need to start tapering this inside corner. And the back side will taper more. I'm just trying to see where I want to end it. So I'm thinking maybe there. I kind of want the wing to extend pretty far. So let's go there. And then let's just grab, I think right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then we'll start doing this tapered section here. And I don't want it symmetrical to the front. I want it a little bit different. So. There we go. And then we'll start cutting this in. So, this is the sort of stuff that can always be changed later. This, none of this is set in stone. I just have to look right at the right spot to get that to curve out Perfect. So that's starting to look good. And then try to see where those meet. Let's try there for a like that. And I don't want to get into XML editing a wedge or anything. It just makes it a pain to do sculpting later. So, but that's kind of the wing tip shape I think that I'm going for. Wings are a little bit on the narrow side width-wise, but that's just I'm not going to XML edit not going to end up XML editing any of the launch areas. I want this to be able to fit in in a stock spawn area. So start building this wing up again. I want to make sure this wing is going to work for me before I go spend a ton of time doing other decorations or building engines or anything, because if it's not going to work for me, I want to catch that as soon as possible so I don't waste a ton of time. Getting into these, multiple 100-hour builds, you really can get caught up in those. And so what are we at here? Pyramids. So trying to attack this a little bit early is going to help me out. We got twos there. Do we have twos anywhere on the body? Right? Where are you at? Those are fours. Twos right there. All right, so a lot of this is just making sure this is going to work. Make sure these all bond together, because if they don't, I want to catch that stuff as early as possible so I can kind of do a rethink before I get too far ahead, Like right there, that's going to be a problem. So what I have to do here is, it's not going to be a problem, but what I can do here is go to a 4. I think a 4, okay, I thought I clicked on you. Did I not? Fours are fours, so let's see, 2, 4. Where's the 2, 4? There it is. There we go. So that's what I want there. Okay. And then we can start finishing. So I like to tackle these sorts of things early, because this is where you can get into trouble, where you have to kind of do a rethink. And so by doing this now, it really, right there, this is going to cause me a problem. So I should be able to undo that. I should be able to fix this. I just have to approach it from the right angle. So let me see. Yeah, this is going to be a problem right here. So as you can see, that's an issue there. All right, so that's going to be an issue. So I need to solve this issue here. Okay, so I'm going to change the shape of this here so that I solve my issue. That's why I'm doing this now, is to fix any of these geometrical problems that we might have. Get all my geometries right here, and then that will save me problems in the future. All right, so I can fix the wingtips here to work with my new thing. So that's why, I didn't just make a wing and move on to something else. I had to make sure that this was going to work. So these should be ones, I think, now. Let me put in pyramids to start with, and then I'll fix it. All right, and then wedges. There we go. So catching problems like that is a reason why I'm doing this early. Then this here, this area here is going to be interesting. Can I get a 4 in there? Let me check. Okay, so I might end this wingtip a little bit early. All right, so I'm going to just end the wingtip a little bit early. It's going to be a little bit more bulbous than I would like, but it's coming down underneath, so wingtip's going to be a little bit shorter than I'd like. Hello there, Chuck Rivas. Rivas. How are you? All right, so again, getting at these things early, trying to solve these issues so that I can, move forward with some confidence that things are going to work. Getting the geometries done early definitely saves you so much of a headache later in the build. So, the benefit of something this huge is I like building a huge build just because it really makes it so that you can, it helps you with, you know, uh, something this large, really, it's going to be a piece of cake to hide microcontrollers and do all that good stuff. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of like having this large build, is it's just going to make that a piece of cake to hide micros. All right, so we're going to have to redo the back there. That's fine. I don't want to XML a bunch of blocks, especially for the wings. It would look better, but it's not something I feel I need to do. A lot of these details, when you're building this, Jado, yeah, we may put some Jado bottles on this. I've thought about doing it, especially if it's going to be taking cargo off of things. Jado would be an interesting thing to do. Especially, when you're building something, your nose is right in the build, and so, of course, you see every error. Once the thing's painted and it has decoration on it, little things that annoyed you, like, issues with how things are matching up under here, that stuff often goes away because you're not as close to the build anymore. So let's see. I'm trying to think of any funky ways I can make this work for me here. What I should just do is I'm going to make the wingtip symmetrical, so let's go ahead and finish it. And then I'll actually just copy it over, save a little time. What can I cut out of there? Quite a bit, actually. Okay. All this can go. There we go. Also building something larger is going to make it, able to carry a lot more, able to kind of withstand a lot of issues with things like, if I have to add some mass, if I have to add some fuel, if I have to add an extra engine, you have a large build, it can really just take those large additions. You don't run into issues. So I need to start sloping the back of my wing. I'm going to start that now. So it's going to be 2 sets of 4 wedges, essentially. So let's go ahead and, I need to make that come to I actually don't mind having the wings super, super thick in the back. I'm going back and forth, trying to find a good center point. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to start with right about there, I think. Definitely want to have enough space to put all my engines and whatnot in there. So let's start bringing the shape of the wing down. And so it's going to be more symmetrical than it is. So let me kind of talk aeronautics a little bit here. So this is kind of bringing up wing design here. And so if we look at the different type of wings, wow, I love it when you zoom into a picture and it's absolutely blurry as hell. So like here's a cambered airfoil right here. You notice how it has the more curved shape on the top. Airflow goes faster, creating a low pressure. Airflow goes slower underneath, creating a high pressure. High pressure pushes up, low pressure gives way, lift. Symmetrical airflow, you essentially have even pressure, but what you're doing is as you're as you're angling up, you're using thrust to move you. That's why, a lot of military aircraft will have symmetrical wings because, you have plenty of engines to do that. Kind of going on the NACA, different NACA airflows here. The NACA, you get a NACA number, and that's the wing shape. I forget exactly what NACA stands for. It's something, oh, I can't remember. It was 20 years ago. But you see the different airfoil shapes. That's a perfectly symmetrical wing. If you cut it in half, the top would be identical to the bottom. You have this a little bit more bulbous on top, it looks like. You're getting the more bulbous in the front. And then if you notice here, this is more the shape I'm kind of looking for. Pretty symmetrical, but I'm going to kind of taper towards the back here. This is going to have a much greater taper on the top, and then a slight taper on the bottom. So, a lot of aeronautics in that. Let me see. Checking up chat. Oh my, let's see. Oh, thank you, Chuck. What's going on, Emery the Gamer? It's kind of a mix, Mr. G. It's going to be, if you look at the nose design is very modern. Has kind of almost like an Antonov-looking nose to it. I'm also using short Sunderland. The wing is almost going to be like a 1950s wing with like a, it has almost like an Antonov. Let's find an Antonov 125. I used to see those when I used to fly in and out of Raleigh when I was in the airlines. I love the 125, or the 124 rather. Yeah, like see, it has almost like an Antonov 124's nose on it. That's it's kind of going to be a mix. Yep, Jado potentially. Yeah, I have no problem moving the big stuff. It's going to be the nice thing with it is you have so much space. You can put in things like, for example, like in my Acranoplan, I have faked fins hiding in there to help with lift. You can do a bunch of that stuff to help. It's just, power overcomes all. And in Stormarks, things are pretty light as it is, so usually you can start kicking butt with just the power because the mass of the vehicle is so low. Yeah, Banana Man, it can get in depth. Let me see. Advisory committee for aeronautics. Yeah, I've been starting to add some more. Yeah, I'm thinking NACA might be national. Let me look it up. Yeah, I was trying to remember it from college 20 years ago. National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics, yeah. So trying to remember some of these things from 20 years ago is tough. So this is going to have a bigger slope on the top of the wing on the top than on the bottom. It's kind of like I was showing you on those designs. That's where we're going with airfoil shape. So that's also a more modern type of airfoil shape on this. So it's going to be kind of a bastardized version, a Frankenstein, a modern and an old school. We'll see how I like the wing. Wing's a little bit fat, but I can cut out middle section, shrink it. I just need to get general shaping. That's one reason all this here can be used to shrink or extend it. It's definitely going to be shrunken. Tail's going to try to go max tail. I'm going to have to fold the tail plane, which I should be fine with that, but it's just I don't want to have to use a XML edited workbench. So this should come in. Wings looking a little bit overly wide from front to back. All right, so let's see where I want this. So a lot of this eyeballing. Maybe there. It's gonna be a really fat wing. So let's go ahead and paste that. All right, so again, I want to get this set up where it's where I want it before I start punching engines in there, because once you get there, you're kind of not committed, but you have to start moving so much stuff. So we don't have enough shape blocks. Again, like I said, because I'm so close to this build and I'm like literally have my nose, not literally, but I have my nose stuck on the build and I'm like zoomed in like this looking at things, I can see errors that when it's complete, you'll think, "Oh my God, my build looks so ugly right here." And then once you're actually using it, like I completely forget that's there, or you get used to it. It's kind of it sticks out at you when you're building it. So try to get better at like not letting those little inconsequential things bother me at the time. All right, so that is kind of, I think, trying to see if that wing shape is how I like it. It's a little bit long. Let's see. I am winging it, most certainly, yes. Trying to see, do I cut this? So let's go ahead and let's try to, how many does this go up? Does that have the identical? It is completely symmetrical. So I made it symmetrical. Let's do this. Let's go. We're going to end up cutting that other wing off the other side and just replacing it with this wing once we get one of them done. So it's so what are we doing here? Where did I screw this up here? Oh, I copied the middle section. Okay. Let's go ahead and paste that. Let's go ahead, clear the content. Let's go ahead and we want to move one down there. Let's cut this now. And that will fit. Why is this not? What is up now? How is that not symmetrical anymore? That is interesting. Oh, this section here needs to come up. All right, something's up here. Let me see what I have to do here to get this fixed. Okay, so this last part here needs to be included. So that's interesting. Let me see what I could do here. I'm just gonna finish it by hand. It's gonna take a little bit longer, but I can be sure it's gonna mate up properly, and then I'll end up cutting that wing and replacing the other wing with it. All right, so I think this is the new reformed wing up top here. So yeah, I'm gonna have to grab the new reformed wing up top anyway. So let me just undo what I just did there. All right, so that matches there. So let's just paste this and then I'll fix it. So that's not a big deal. This had some of the other wing shapes, so I just need to kind of fix this, see if I can fix this here. All right, that's better. And then let's see how I can fix this up here. And that is going to be, that can be a nightmare. Nope. There could be a 1x2. Probably run into a problem at some point, but we can deal with that when it comes. All right. All right, so that's going to be that issue. I don't really want to fatten this wing up anymore. That's the issue that I'm having, is I really don't want to increase the size of the wing, but I'm running into my issue here. So let's go ahead, cut that out. Let's go ahead and take a what do we need here? Try not to fatten this wing too much here. Really try not to. All right, good, that worked. Get where I wanted it. So just have to rebuild this bottom section here to get it to be where I want it. hopefully hide some of my crimes here that I'm making. So should be able. Oh, that's not going to work. What? I'm kind of inside of this, and so I'm trying to see. Okay, I see it now. Had to go upside down to see it. Just spatially, it was ugly to try to figure this out. This is not going to probably work here. I need to come up with something here. I got it there. Okay, good. That's not too bad. All right, so we're getting to it. It's just I'm literally looking at it upside down, so it's a little bit hokey trying to get it fixed. So that's actually coming along pretty well here. So check up with chat. No, it's gonna have a rudder. It will have plenty of tailplane. It's gonna have it'll have rudder in here, and then so this will slope down. Big tailplane rudder will come in. It will just the rudder will sit at 90 degrees. I also have some. I can drop this quite a bit. You see how much I can drop it. So I have a good bit of drop space, and the gear is going to be, it's going to sit really low in its gear because I need to be able to drop containers out of the nose, so that shouldn't be an issue. All right, let's try to get this wing shaped complete so that I can move on. Hit the undo, please. Thank you. There we go. All right, so this is matching up pretty respectably here. Nice. All right, and as you can see, it's not going to have a completely flat, smooth wing. I kind of do want, I need at least one block for control surfaces. So let's do this. I want to actually delete. And where are you at? This is what I want. And so I am going to go flat here. I want to kind of flatten this out a little bit. Okay, so that's going to be one there. Okay. And I think I'm going to go 2 just so that I can get it. I think I'm going to go 2. I want, there we go. I think that's where I'm at here. So that's going to be for control surfaces. And I want a second one here. I'm going to put integrated flaps in there. And then we can slope the back. So it'll be a little bit more of a modern wing design. You know, it looks chunky right now, but if we go out, it's very proportional. So that will work proportionally. No, I do a regular rudder. Let's see. All right, so let's finish this out. All right, so of course I missed something. There we go. So I think that's not a bad general wing shape. It is super fat, but I can pretty proportional. I'm not thrilled with it, but once we put some engines on, we'll see. If I need to shrink it down a block or two, what I can do is I can cut this top section out, which I might just do that now. Let's see if I can't thin this. It is looking a mighty bit thick, but it's. Let me look at some of the like let's look at Sunderland. You see, Sunderland has a pretty thick wing as it is. Sunderland is, I don't know if it's actually smaller than this or not, but I have to see how we start integrating these engines in. I can always trim the wings later as I, if I think it's overly large. Let's try to integrate this into the fuselage. I don't mind if it's ugly. I kind of like the ugly little duckling type of vehicles. Those are my favorite to build. So kind of bulldog-esque, you know. I don't like them to look too pretty or refined. I want them kind of look pretty brutal, man. All right, so I think this can be replaced here. Oh, trying to get where I have to fly into the wing, which is always fun. Where are we at here? let's try, that's going to have to be here. Let's try it from here. Okay, so I'm thinking of that. That's not good. That's not where I want it. Let's see. Let's do a 2. Kind of want to get one side integrated, and then I can work from there. Fatten the wing root up here and have it meet into the body, so I need to see what the shape's going to be. So let's see if I can punch that. I kind of like that, a little bit of a bulbosity there. So you can't punch that into the wing or into the fuselage. Trying to get where I can see something here. Flying into the build can be quite obnoxious. Trying to see how it's going to be. All right, so that's starting to integrate there. I need to keep going. All right, so that's not too bad. I kind of want it old school. I don't want it too incorporated. Like the old style stuff was really kind of just very blunt. Just very abrupt. They were just using power to push against the airframe. They weren't really to push against the air. They weren't going massive super aerodynamics. They just didn't have, a lot of times they didn't bother with flush rivets. They didn't bother with things like that. So it's going to be one of, it's almost kind of like a, steampunk's not necessarily the right term, but, kind of where you have the modern and future thing, kind of like a Sky Captain of tomorrow, where, he has a P-51, or I think he had a Hawker Hurricane, I can't remember, but it was, had very modern things, but it was also very retro old school. I like that kind of aesthetic. Let me check the chat. I see the chat moving. Retrofuturism, yes, that's the term I was hunting for. Thank you. Yeah, I kind of like a retrofuturism. It's just, it makes it, like that's one of the things that I hate uber futuristic things, just because it's like, oh, that I'm gonna XML edit some stuff here. I've done blocks there to get rid of some of the shape here, but like, watch, once I zoom out, once that's painted, we'll never see it. But because I've got my nose stuck in the build, that drives me nuts. But I can use some XML edited blocks to fix that at some point. But like I said, unless your nose is pushed right up against it, you're not gonna see it. And so it's kind of, these things will annoy you until you kind of once you get some paint on it. So I try not to worry about any of that sort of thing until I'm until it's actually moving for me. Let's do can I do a 4 here? I have the space. Trying to drag this down. It wouldn't let me drag. There we go. Okay. That's going to be tough to integrate there, so I've kind of screwed myself up. I need to go, what's that, 1 by 1s? So yeah, so this section here will be, I should be able to bring more here. So I need to be cognizant of that, of screwing up integrating to the roof line later. I don't want to have to change that roof line. It's where I want it. So that's good there. And then this here can go one blocks here. So let's go. Not going to be as gradual as I'd like it, but it will save me a lot of headache because I can integrate it right in with this. So, like I said, it's going to bug me now, but once it's in there and it's painted and I'm using it, I'll forget all about it. It's like I don't remember any of, for example, Katie did's, little things like that that were kind of obnoxious. That they annoyed me while I was building it, and then I completely forgot about them, so it's not something that you really ever think about ever again. Let's undo that. Let's start dragging these forward. Try to match these up here. And I might be able to cut, I should be able to cut some of this out. I'm just kind of trying to get it matched up here. It's like that will match there. Let's just do it this way. Let's do it back to front. Let's try cutting. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how to match this without making it obnoxious. I think I had it right a good way like this. Yeah, let's go with that. I should be able to match that up a little bit better than, yeah. Yeah, let's try it doing this. Again, none of these are ever going to be perfect, just we don't have the blocks for it, but I can also fix all this later. It's just don't want it to hold me back too much. I want to kind of keep moving, and then I'll fix it later as it bugs me. P40, what do you, the Warhawk? Talking about P40 Warhawk? Yeah, so that's not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's good integration there. All right, so now symmetry comes off. Let's go ahead and let's fix the other wing. All right, so that is there. And massive lag spike as I try to drag half the vehicle off. All right, good. Let's go grab the wing. Not thrilled with every element of the wing, but again, I'm going to keep building, and then if I want to rip it apart later, I can, but, I'll probably have enough stuff distracting me visually that the old stuff that used to bother me won't bother me anymore, so it's at least what I'm hoping for. At least what I'm telling myself. Let me measure these, make sure these are symmetrical. That is a fear, is you get to the point where they're not symmetrical anymore. What are we talking here? So from center to tip, we have 70. And check this one. I want to make sure I didn't do one extra on that side. Center to 70. Okay, good. So I did not make it too long. So that was something I was afraid of. And we can also just test that with symmetry. Turn symmetry back on, take a block, stick it out here. And make sure they're the same. They are, okay. Oh yeah, Sky Captain. Yeah, I couldn't remember what plane he had. Looking a little bit, the wings looking a little bit thick, but I have to put some massive propellers in here, so hoping that will help. So let's start to shape out the engine nacelles. And so the first thing I'm going to do here is I want to start working on props. Let me see where it is. I think it's this one. Nope. Here's the big one. This is one. Not going to be that big. Thinking 3 blades. So let's bring in the Sunderland. You see how the Sunderland wing design there? Kind of the body. So putting them next to each other is helping kind of see, kind of spatially how it's looking. Looking pretty good spatially. Our wing's a little bit fatter, which I'm kind of expected. I could trim the bottom section off, maybe trim a little off the top if I need to, but engine's looking pretty good. Maybe a hair small, but we'll go with it. Again, I could trim those wings up as necessary. So I'm going to do a four engine. And then I think the innermost engines are going to stick out more than the outer engines. Then you can kind of stack them a little bit. So you do like that. So let's look at that. So that's looking pretty good. Wing is fat. Wing is definitely fat, but I can trim it as necessary later. I just want to get this kind of in there and going. One of the things is I'm going to have enormous landing gear in this. This thing's going to have big, big gear. And that was kind of, I've been thinking about it at work all week, was, kind of getting that. What is up with this? That's fine. I can fix that later. So we have big old wings here. I'm going to take stock of how large they are right now. So this is all floor pan of the wings. Oh, nope, that is the actual bottom of the wing. Okay, good. So let's cut this, let's put this here. What's under here? Let's continue floor level there. And go across like so. All right, so the tallest height of the wing here is going to be, what are we talking there? 5 blocks. So a crouching character can go through the wing. All right. And I might let's do this now. Let's see if I like it. Let's take the top section of this wing off. And let's see if thinning that just a hair interests me. Let's trim the bottom off by 1. Let's do just a hair trimming right now and see what we look like here. Trying to see what else I need to trim. This here. Okay. So let's trim the bottom here and see what that looks like to me. I'm thinking trimming it a little bit is going to be better. The wing is looking overly large, overly fat and thick rather. All right, so putting the wing on a die, it's helping, I think. So I think the top needs to go too. And let's check that once I get it kind of done. We'll see from the front what we look like. I think putting this wing on a little bit of a die, it's going to help make this look a little less bulbous. Yeah, that's definitely trimming that wing's making it look much better. Perfect. Okay, I'm liking that as a new kind of wing thickness. Also, I like keeping this hump of the top there. That's good. So nice, nice, nice. That's really, I like that wing better. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so I think that looks good. That's and it's kind of, I don't want it I don't want a complete like Catalina wing just stapled on the top. I want it integrated like that. So that's looking good. Still, we should be able to get a crouching man in here. um, the main thing for me is engines, and so the be all end all of engines is I need to be able to cut in. Where is it? Right here, and I need to be able to put in. If we color it, let's say black is the crankshaft and blue is the cylinders. I can put my radials in there, and I have room. Now, the nacelles are going to be larger. The nacelles are going to bump out, so we'll have something toward the effect of, let me just get rid of all that nonsense I put in there. I'll leave that block so I know where I'm at. But so essentially the nacelles are going to kind of be thinking maybe so let's build some nacelles really quick. I think that's going to make too thick a nacelles. So what I want to do, I think, is get out of there, you. These will be more rounded this way. I'm just going to build up some quick nacelles. Just to kind of see where my engines are going to hide in there. And then, what do we have? 2 down, 1, 2, and then we go wedge. And this will help inform propeller size too once I get that going. Problem is these are a max, but I can shrink later. Kind of digging this nacelle size. Could be a little bit wider, but I definitely need bigger propellers, and I kind of like where the propellers are now. What I could do is this. They could be asymmetrical nacelles where the... let's go cut, cut, cut. Let's do this. Let's make them asymmetrical nacelles and make them kind of flatter up top. So they would go... I don't know. Figure that out later. Just kind of eyeballing it, what my nacelle is going to look like. Yeah, they should probably be one fatter, but yeah, I may want bigger propellers if I'm going to do that. Let's bring in the Sunderland, see what that looks like. They have nice round nacelles. They take up, oh, I don't know, a quarter of the propeller. So keep that in mind. Try. Don't hate it, but I'm not super duper thrilled with it either. So 1, 2, 1, 2, yeah, so they're symmetrical there. So those are symmetrical, more squared nacelles. Those, I don't hate those. Kind of use that as kind of just to leave it and move on. But I definitely want to get the tail in. Tail plane's important to kind of get working on that sooner than later. Again, if I can't get that fit in, then we're in deep trouble. So I have to kind of get to that. All right, let's go ahead and start working on this tail plane. So I have this sitting on the ground, and so most likely I'm going to probably have to launch this from the water. Let's go ahead and do this. I want to get a quick measurement. So my bottom block is here. All right. So from bottom block to ceiling, what am I looking at here? Bottom block to topmost. Can't do it there, can I? We need to add a block. Just remember to add a block. No, I don't need to add a block. What's that? That's 37. Okay, so I can go 37. Okay. All right, let's save this. I haven't saved in a while, which is treacherous. Okay, let's go ahead and let's move. I should have just no clipped. Actually, it puts me close enough there. I'm not too far away. Let's try it in here. I like to be able to spawn this everywhere. I just want to kind of see what my spacing's looking like here. No, don't do that. Yeah, it won't fit in here. So this is smaller than the hangar in here. Okay. So back to the hangar it is. Let me check seaplane base. I just need to make sure I can get this out of somewhere. It's going to be able to go and sea and land, so just checking bases here. Okay, so it can only, that's fine. So as long as I can get it in the world, we're good. It is beef. All right, so let's get in here. All right, so let's start working on this tail plane. Let's make sure we're pushed all the way to the forward. We are, okay. This is going to be a pain doing the tail plane. Now, I'm looking at the Sunderland. One of the reasons I like these old flying boats is if we look at the fat of the if we look at the fat of the tail, that's one of the reasons I wanted to build it kind of old school, is we have a really nice fat S on it. And that's going to make it so that once I get past the container space that I need for my cargo deck, I can start. You see how fat this tail plane is? That's one of the reasons I did this, and it has a very light slope to no slope on the back, so I can kind of do it straight and get away with it. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing it kind of old school. It probably is too wide, yeah. But you know, I have no fear that I'm going to be able to get this to work. You know, it will take some tweaking. It'll take some problem solving later, but you know, I'll be able to get this to work. So that's all I really care about. Let's go ahead, get some white blocks in here. Let's go ahead and build out all the way on the tail side. So I'll kind of show you some of the things I did. I did very little before I kind of did the live stream, just basic shaping. But this is going to be the cargo deck here. And I needed 2 thickness so that I can put in grippers for the gripper track. This is not going to be able to unload while it's in the water. That was something I was hoping. One way I could do it is put an elevator in. I might put an elevator in still. I could do living quarters all the way to here and then do an elevator. I'm not sure. Elevate it out the top. We'll see if this nose design works. I'm going to have to do a clamshell. So what's going to happen is the front here is going to clamshell, probably right about here. And then there's going to have to be a watertight door right in front of these containers. This is all going to be sealed on the roof. And these are going to be double stuffed. So essentially, let me show you what I mean. So you're going to have essentially, there'll be asymmetrical walls, but there'll be a wall up like this. So both of these will be completely sealed. So you'll split the halves, but they'll be sealed. So they should maintain buoyancy. And that will kind of counteract any issues of having no buoyancy in the nose. There'll be plenty of buoyancy. Let me look what we're at here. The nuclear power plane. Yeah, they thought of that. They were just they were in the 50s. They were unconcerned about irradiating the population. That wasn't one of their main concerns. Or you'd fly over somebody and you end up a ton of radiation everywhere. All right, so let's start working on this tail plane. This is going to be important. So We have plenty of space for the tail plane. I wanted to make sure I left plenty of space. So kind of what we're going to do is once we get past this cargo section, we'll start making our way up. Just very slightly. It's going to be very Sunderland based. So kind of like, as you can see, I'm not going to do a step here. That's what that's for, is the step to get air under there to try to lift the front off. I'm going to kind of, once we get past here, I'll start going up. And then here, I might, I'll leave this straight. This is pretty straight there. Let's see what we can do with that. How do I turn on symmetry? Right up here, symmetry. You pick your different planes. This is x-axis. Pretty much x-axis is the only axis I use. If you have y, it's above and below. Z is forward, back. I pretty much only keep it x, and then you can move the plane with the move widget there. All right, so we're going to start our earnest jog up. Now, I left lots of space, so like in here I have a three gap between these, and then I have probably, oh, what are we looking at here? Not that many. Let's see. Right about 5 blocks forward that can go. So left myself a little extra space to be able to play with this. So we're going to want to start going up here. That's going to be the back of that. So let's try, go here. Actually go. No, I don't want that. What am I doing? I kind of want it reasonably abrupt going up. So let's do a pyramid 1x2 there. So let's get this tail plane in. That's very important to get moving on that. Where are we at here? Oh, that's a 1x2 there. Okay, that's fine. So I need to fix that. Okay, so we want one more set of 1x2 here. Where are you at? There you are. Let's see. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. All right, so that's a good gentle step up. That's doing what I want. So let's do that. I'd like to get this sucker in the water. It's going to be a pain that I can't just put it in the water. We'll have to land, we'll have to be launched out of a land base, but it adds some limitations to gameplay, but it's not, again, I want this to be big. I wanted this to be max size. That's kind of what I wanted, so may pay for it a little bit. That I have to deal with it at max size, but I could fold wingtips potentially too if, like you were saying, it might be too wide. I can fold some wingtips to do that too. So again, another reason I like doing some of these older builds is they can be very square and have abrupt corners, and they don't look weird. Modern stuff, you really don't want abrupt corners, so I kind of like the old school just because you can do that. It's going to be interesting to fix that up there. Actually, that shouldn't be too bad, actually. Nah, That's kind of gross there. Let's go like this. Come on, come on. Give me the block. Give me the block. Give me the block. All right, let's start going top to bottom a little bit on this. We're gonna have a pretty flat. So let's go all the way back. Start working on the tail. So this all the way down. It is. So we're gonna definitely have to do a folding tail, but I can live with that. So the bottom section is going to be rudder, and the top section is going to be folding tail. So, all right, let's see how big my control surface is. I've yet to use a large. Let's try that. Okay, large is the control surface of the day. We need to come in one block. All right, so let's just match that up so I can start kind of getting this shaped here a little bit. Kind of zoom out, see how that looks. That's not bad. The height of this, if I go max height, I can have the gear push out when I go up. You know, we still have, see what's going to happen is it's a tail dragger. So the tail is going to drop down on the wheel. The front is going to come up. It's actually going to angle the tail down a little bit. So might only need a tiny bit of, and it's not, as long as there's no control surface on where I fold it, we should be good. So that should be good right there. Let's bring in the Sunderland again. So as you can kind of see, the tail area there, that's kind of what I'm going for. So this top section here is going to be, this arc section will be up here, but it will fold down, and then once we spawn in, it will auto fold up. So that's just going to be aesthetic. And so let's kind of keep shaping that here. Put my reference material over there. All right. So I'm trying to keep my, there we go. Get my reference material back up. We are not going to put a ball turret in the back of this. So for now, let's go straight across. We'll worry about the folding tail plane later. And then I'm thinking, what does this have? Probably 1x4s going down it. 1x2s maybe. There, you know, the old 1950 style tails were very, very abrupt. Not that abrupt. Try 2s. That I can see working, and then smoothing it more with a 1x4 will look probably too vertical. Yeah, so let's go. Now, I'm trying not to do XML blocks, so kind of keeping that stuff out of here, and that's just a preference thing. I do XML blocks for some stuff, but some stuff I just want to keep it stock. You know, it can add a lot of work doing XML just because you have to go kind of reinvent the wheel to get them working. So it's going to have that more tapered tail top, but that's going to fold. So let's actually put it in. Oh, there's going to be a pain conceptualizing it. I have to do it on its side. Let's see. Shouldn't be too bad. Let's go ahead and let's just do it instead of complaining about it. All right, there we go. And then I need to build this. So symmetry's off. It's going to bend this way. Okay, and then so what do I need to do? I need to start to go. And so I'm actually going to build it on the wrong side, but then I'm going to cut it and place it. So this will make it just a little bit easier to do. building on its side has its disadvantages of me trying to conceptualize how this is going to look. So I also have to try to rethink how to turn my blocks. Yeah, these very rounded designs, you know, in the 50s. You know, again, it's that retro future design, so. Let's bring in the Sunderland again. Okay, just kind of check and reference material. Again, it's my design, but it's, you know, it's good to have a little bit of reference. Part of the reason I like to do that is it makes it very easy to understand if your stuff's going to look spatially correct. If you kind of look at realistic stuff, they look right, you know, and so you want your build to look right, and so sometimes you kind of have to, you know, by doing it, by kind of going by realistic stuff, it just looks right, you know. You know, you can't tell why it looks right, but it just does, you know, and that's kind of why I like to do that here. All right, so that is there. Let's go ahead and let's grab a throttle. I just want to quickly fold that tail and make sure that's going to look right for me. All right, spatially, this looks good from me. Let's do infinite elec. Let me get the chat back up. And that's the tail. So the tail looks right. This should keep coming up. It should smooth out and probably come to about there. Again, it's going to look a little, it looks a little blocky because it's white, doesn't have any detail. Once that detailing gets in there, that blockiness will tend to evaporate. And I can also kind of cut in some spatial elements in there that will make it a little bit better. But that tail plane looks good. That works for me. So let's keep cutting in here. And let me see what I can do here. Can I? Probably not. Okay, so let's start finishing up this tail here. Yeah, I wish I could spawn this in the water base. I have to, what I'll do is I'll go in the water base and I'll measure and see what I have for space. This back section will get fixed and tapered a little bit later. Just kind of thinking how I want to do it. Let's try something here. Where's my symmetry? Let's put symmetry back on. Go to there. Grab a 2x pyramid here. All right, so that's kind of giving me a taper, a notion of where my taper is going on this. And that's not going to stay that way, but that's just kind of where I'm at the moment. All right, and so that's the next taper section there, and then I think we're going to cut a little bit of width in here. And so we're going to go back to 1x4s, probably about here, I think. So kind of eyeballing a lot of this. You know, a lot of this is just practice. You get used to it where it needs to be. Let's fill this a little bit with some blocks. This will be easier to grab onto. Okay. Where's my fours? There are my fours right there. All right, and that will then taper up into the actual tail plane. So that's not bad there. Let's go ahead and grab, where am I at? Yeah, pyramid. That there. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll delete out the center section here. The bottom is going to be pretty flat, just because, again, I lose too much height if I get rid of that. And then I also, you know, bottom's going to be pretty flat, will help me get out of the water. It's a concession for game mechanics that, you know, of course, a sculpted bottom would be nice, but I can't do a sculpted bottom because you see how big my containers are. So I need the space for containers. So that was one of the main things I wanted in this build, is the ability to carry containers, and so I need that. So I don't want to sacrifice that. So, and again, a lot of the stuff that, you know, again, you're really close to your build, you're looking at it and it looks horrible. You put some paint on it, you put some decorative items on it, all that goes away. Let's bring in the Sunderland again. So I'll just round out that tail element, the bottom of the tail. So we have that there. Let's go ahead and start square, and then I'm going to try to see how I want this to round out. So let's go wedge, 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 like so. Okay, good. So let's cut that out. All right, now we can fill that in. All right, so that's looking pretty good there. Looks a little bit boxy in the midsection here. I could try to put a cut in there, but it's only going to be a 1x4, so we'll leave it for now, and I'll see how I can. All right, let's try to start integrating this top section here. So let's do 2x4s. Okay. 2x2s here. Back to 2x4s. And then what do we need in here? So we'll see if I want to end up adding an elevator in the back. Curious how that will work, or if it will work. Part of the reason I'm doing this is that one of the issues I think the devs did was, I don't mind it too bad. Certain bases you have to use aircraft to get things. Well, you really don't need to use aircraft to get anything in, which is one of my complaints. But you need to use sea vessels to get in, or you can do sea and you can do land, but you have very limited amount of stuff you can use air vehicles for. So, like, I would, you know, especially there are two vehicles that are really good running long distance: planes and ships. Ships are slow, but they can carry a lot of, say, containers. And so the ship can go from the arid biome all the way up to the Arctic quite efficiently, because you could carry, say, 5 to 10 containers. And you're going very slow, but you're making good money because you're carrying 5 of them. This aircraft can carry 2, so it carries a lower amount, and it probably burns a good bit of fuel, but it's fast. And so we kind of lose that with the way they set up some of these bases. So I don't know if I'm explaining my thought process, but you know, so I'm trying to think about how to get this from the arid biome up to the Arctic. This is going to be hokey, but again, a lot of this that you kind of get worried about, like that. You know, you get disgusted by it in your own build because you can see it. You know, you built it. Once you go like that, nobody's going to notice, you know, and I can even do this. Let's do this. Cut that like so. Let's go ahead and put in a, where are we at here? I'm trying to find one. There it is. Nope, wrong one. Let's put this in here. And then no longer do I care about that spot, you know, so that's not a big deal anymore. So where it was kind of annoying at first, you zoom out, you don't care anymore. I could also fix it by that, but again, once you're zoomed out, once it's painted, this tail, I'm not thrilled with this arc here. The tail should be thicker this way, so we'll fix that right now. So I want a fatter tail on this, so let's go like to there. So again, a lot of it's just kind of, you know, looking back, seeing where it is and how you like it. And if you don't like it, fix it. Right there. Okay, good. Let's see how this new reformed tail looks for me. That is going to be too big. Let's grab the Sunderland, kind of look at it. Definitely very steep. So steepness wasn't bad. It just needs to move back a little bit. So let's go cut, 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 cut. I don't need too much, I don't think. Maybe there. This here is making it look ugly too. It's kind of making it, giving it a weird shape. So if I have to thicken that up, it's not by much. Thinking there, maybe. Yeah, let's undo all that. Let's fix this here. I think this is the culprit. I think this here is making it look ugly. Let's go, because this could be where the rudder is there. So this is probably going to be where the wheel is here for the actual steering mechanism. So I think that being that rounded was really causing some heinousness. That, I think, fixes a lot of that look there. Looks a little less heinous. All right, so again, if it bothers me later, I can get into it. See where we're at, chat. Fit this on Triton, yeah. It might sit on Triton. I don't know how Triton's going to think about it. There's going to be a wheel here that will come out of doors, and then there will probably be a fold-down rudder as well. So kind of want them to come in and out. So let's go ahead and spawn this really quick. Let's put that tail plane up. See how we're looking. Looks pretty good. You know, that's interacting. I'll fix that, but it looks really weird to me a little bit. You know what it is? It should be continue up to the rudder there. That's part of what's doing it to me. Okay, that's why the rudder has to have needs to extend all the way behind the rudder here. I was wondering what was looking weird. That's what's looking weird there. Okay, let's try this and try to integrate it. Bring in the Sunderland again. Let me try doing this here. Let me try something a little different. That's better. I think rounding it out here and then ending it is going to be better. I'm trying to go all the way to the water line, and that's what's causing my... Again, it just doesn't look right, and that's why I like using some reference material. Is by using the reference material, I can say, oh, I don't know why it doesn't look right, but I can tell you it doesn't look right. And so by having a good reference material, you can get in there and just, say, okay, well, that looks right on the picture of the real vehicle, and mine looks wrong, so let's make look a little bit more like the real vehicle in that section, and lo and behold, it looks correct. So a little bit better. I could use some more work, but I think, I'm smoothing too much. I think they don't smooth as much in the 50. They do abrupt stops. So let's try that. Get out of there, you. Even coming down to here, let's go. Again, I just want to get this tail to look right. Yeah, I'm not worried about any of the functionality. The functionality I should have no problem setting up functionality. Get out of there, you. Right there. Yeah, it'd be interesting trying to put this on Triton. I'm curious what this weighs. I'm gonna look it up in a second here. What it's probably gonna get is the Akranaplan's engines. The Akranaplan has like a 48 cylinder engine or something in it. And it will get 4 of those, so. Yeah, I'm not going to keep screwing with the tailplane, but I will work on it as I kind of figure out what I want. All right, so that's kind of good, looking good. Let's see where we're at here. This is weird to me, but I'm not worried about it. I can thin and fix later. Let's drop this on the ground. Let's kind of see what we're looking at. Let's take a walk through the cabin here. Get the cabin kind of a little bit more completed. Then we'll just put a wall in the tail here. All right, so let's go through this cabin. So the size is, I'm loving the size. Size looks good. Is going to be interesting trying to get this to float properly. I need to put pontoons. The tailplane is a little bit still annoying me, but that can be worked on at some point. This is a wreck in here. Could probably cut this out here, but that could use some sculpting definitely. Nacelles could be wider, but the propellers are a little bit small. I could always go counter-rotating if I have enough power. Let's go ahead and go into the actual top section here. All right, so we have our top section here. Have our cockpit. See my engines, which I like. Can just barely see the nose. Let's take a picture for the video. I still haven't made a picture for this video yet. All right, so it's looking pretty good. Wings pretty good. Let me check center of gravity. Wings ahead of the center of gravity, but I'm not really concerned about that. Let's put some control surfaces on here. So I want at least a pair of flaps. And ailerons. So have control surface. I was almost thinking of putting them integrated flaps. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty right. Wing still looks a little bit weird, but again, paint should help that. Tail definitely needs some sculpting at some point, but I can get to that at some point. All right, so curious about let's work on the gear. The gear is something that I really wanted to work on. And so I don't know how much I can trim out of the belly if I need to trim some out of the belly, but not really all that concerned about that. Would love to do a float test, but I don't know what is. Let's do a measurement here. Let's measure the dimensions of this, and then I can see what my water is, and I can see what I have to do to get this to spawn in the water. So we'll go wingtip to wingtip. And we'll have to add 2. Actually, no, we're not. That's good. That is 139 wide. Okay, I'll write these down. Width 139. Okay. Check the length of this sucker. You're going to be a pain, aren't you? Let's cut this for now. Let's go to there. And then here. Zing. Oh, stop giving me this nonsense. That is 136 long. Okay. And let's check the height. And we don't need to measure with the thing there, so the raisin section doesn't matter. So what do we have? 37 tall. 37 tall. All right, height is 37. So let's figure out. I want to get this in the water. Let's save. It's going well. Hello, Dr. Dano. Yeah, it's going well. It's just trying to measure this bench to see where we're at here. So that is what? 43, so that's 87. 87 wide. Wow, this is really narrow. That's super duper narrow. Not cutting the wings so that's fine. Let's do this. Let's engineer a solution here. That's gonna work. Okay. Let's jerry something together here to get this going. Let's actually start working on the gear instead. Because I was going to build something to put this on. I need to build gear anyway. I want to build gear. Gear is important to me. So this could be an issue. I'm trying to decide how to get the gear in. I don't see one of the reasons I wanted this wing so thick is to accommodate the gear. And so the gear are going to be down and in swinging gear. I want them to be massive. That was one of the main things that I really wanted for this build. So let's do that. Let's just do pink for now. So they need to be just ahead of the center of gravity or we're never going to get the tail up. So all right. And I need to be able to come up some. Crap. So I'm completely boxed in here. That's not ideal. That is not ideal. I could put extendable gear in there. Hmm. All right, I'm gonna have to do extendable gear. I really didn't want to do that, but I'm gonna have to. All right. They don't need to go down very far. 2 blocks. I can redo some things as needed. It's all in the tail plane that this is gonna have issues here. I could also do body gear, but I don't want to. I really was thinking of how I want to put those in the tail. Let's see. All right, let's do this. Yeah, folding wings. They have to be huge. These wings are 139. They need to go down 84. So I'd have to fold them in half. And then folding them in half, I'd start to have issues with control surfaces. I'd have issues with nacelle. I have no problem spawning in this workbench. My next issue is the height of this tail fin is just pretty damn high. Let's go ahead and let's continue this. Let's go like this. Cut this. And how many am I going to move this by? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's 5. We hope that's 5. Let's move it all the way down to here. Okay. Let's measure it really quick. 5. Okay. I can count. Yay. And watch the front not grab. Actually, it's perfect. It grabbed the wedge there. Oh, don't do that. Go in one, please. All right, so that will go like that. This will allow me to raise it up. This will allow me to fix the gear. This here will go, cut you, put you here now. All right, let's try this now. All right, so that's allowing me now to raise the vehicle up to get it on its gear. You know, that's wonky weird, but I will fix that. So, all right, good. All right, so that gained us some blockage here. How many blockages? Enough. So that should give us hopefully enough daylight. I can get this up on its gear. We'll go pink gear for now, just so that I can see them. I can readjust the center of gravity as necessary. So let's do, I need to do a wheel test, so we'll go like this. Okay, wheels. Three buys. There is the lowest wheels. Perfect, that will go on. Let's go tire radius. Let's eyeball them. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to fives. At their at their smallest size, fives really aren't much bigger than threes. But let's go up a size and see what we look like here. All right. So what I want to do is offset gear. And so this is going to be, I was going to do 2 offset gear. I'm not sure I have enough wing space now to do 2 offset gear. I'll tell you what I'm talking about here in a second. So let's go like that, and then you want to merge this here, and then we do a center truss, kind of like at a 777. So I'm going to put some beefy gear on this. Part of this is to kind of look like, I want these beefy gear in there. It's kind of part of the aesthetics of this sucker, is to have these really massive, intimidating looking gear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was one of the things I was thinking of this week when I was at work, was making this big intimidating gear. So I kind of want it that way. So 777s have these triple truck gears like this. The truck is essentially a wheel set. And then they're like that, essentially. That is excessive, I think. I want them smaller. They should be threes. Or here, let's go fives, but let's start with fives and go down to minimum radius. And then move them. Yeah, so that's good. And then I need to move them in, so that'll work. See what I mean when I get them together. That really interact with the tire at that distance? You telling me that interacts with that tire at that distance? Probably because they're fives. Might have to go down to threes and do maximum size threes. Start with this for now, and then we'll see how I like it. So I want to get this up on its gear. That way I can try to move it. I want to get it in the water. That's going to be a big part of it. This has to float, so. And this is. All right, good. So now let's take this. And so like the Sunderland, I was watching a video of a Fantasy of Flight, and he has a Sunderland, and they put it on beaching gear, so it only has gear when they so I need to measure something to make sure before I get too involved in this gear. So let's say there, and let's say there. I need to check widths. I'm actually going to cut it in one anyway, but I want to measure it. 7. Okay, so counting the block underneath here and the block up top, we have 3, 5. Okay, good. So I need to cut in one. So that was kind of my thought process anyway, is that I was going to have to cut in 1 or 2. So let's measure that in a second here. I want to see how this sits on its gear too, make sure that it's actually going to support it fine. Let's measure the width now. So worst case, that is going to be 6. Okay. So we could put in gear door, or these are going to show. It's not a big deal. I want to get this just sitting on its gear. I want to drag this sucker into the water and put it in there. All right, let's set it on the gear. So I need to delete out this. I was just filming my max width. Now we'll definitely have to make sure it's watertight before I drag this over to the water. But let's stick it on its gear. All right, good. So these are going to have pivoting gear at some point. Let's put that in now while I'm at it. You know, this definitely plays with the strength of the gear, but that's something I can work on. All right, nice. So let's set this in the gear too. All right, let's do infinite electricity. So those should rotate on the gear once that gets going. We'll have to see how this wants to work. I just want to be able to drag this out to start with. So let's get this buttoned up watertight wise. I want to make sure this is watertight. So this needs to be filled. So this is going to get filled with, I'm just going to do pink blocks so I know to work on this later. And so this is just to ensure that it's watertight. So make sure that there aren't any holes in the wings. Go to merge screen. That helps find holes in the wings. Or anywhere really. That's sealed. We sealed all the way through here. Looks sealed to me. Looks sealed, looks sealed. We look sealed. Okay, so as long as we're sealed, we should have plenty of buoyancy in this. I need to put on pontoons. So let's do that. Let's go to about, oh, I don't know. Where are we at here? I'm thinking this is going to sit pretty low in the water. So let's go ahead and do, I'm just going to do enclosed box pontoons at the moment. We'll make them a little bit on the big side. I can shrink them later if I can. Yeah, these pontoons will get a pass. I just want to go stick this in the water, see how it sits. Because that's kind of a big deal that we have to fix if that's causing me problems. You know, and I will, just going to be very basic pontoons just to have those in there. That's, you know, somewhat the size, probably even a little bigger. You see, like, they could go bigger and still look normal, so they're not going to be that long, but that's just kind of quick and dirty. Let's do a quick and dirty wheels. I want to get this tested out in the water, so my retractable tail wheel is going to be somewhere here. And then I need to put in, just going to grab one of these wheels. For now. You know, there'll probably be smaller wheels than these, but again, I just want to go test this. I want this in the water. Getting in the water is a big step to kind of see where we're at, and I'll probably take a break and probably end the stream after that. Okay, so this should be on a pivot. Let's do this pivot instead. All right, I want a tail wheel. Or I want a tow bar rather is what I meant to say. All right, let's give this a run. All right, let's actually do this before I get too far ahead of myself. At least want to get this out of the out of this hangar here. So, all right, let's try to get this out of here. Where is I didn't paste the cart. All right, gonna be difficult today, huh? That's better. All right, let's try to get this out of here. There we go. Let's push this sucker out of here. Do we have infinite electricity on? I do not. Can't steer this nose wheel though. That's weird. Dare I try turning this around in the workbench here? Oh, you know what it is? Okay, let's do this. Same problem these are having. Set the power to 0. I didn't set the powers to 0 on these. That would be why. Okay. Those going to act the fool. All right, those don't like that at all, so let's get rid of those. So I'll just probably do single larger wheels there at some point. That was just kind of a test to see if it will work, and it appears it does not want to work, so do solid axles for now and try to get this pushed out of here. I want to get this in the water. This is going to struggle. Probably be able to tow it, but it's not going to want to pull it. And why is that pivot not turning? That pivot should be turning. That pivot is not turning. I don't know why the pivot's not turning. Once I get it out of here, I can put a bigger vehicle to tow this if I need to, but I just need to get it out of the hangar. Decided to make it full, the largest size has its advantages, but it's also has a disadvantage that it's big. This has no edited grip or anything, this little cart. So once I get it out of here, I'll get a proper vehicle to tow it out. I just need to get out. It's annoying that I can't steer it properly, but whatever. All right, so let's do this. Just gonna push this cart off for now. Get something with some power to get this sucker out of here. Pintle. All right. So this should have no problem towing that. I should drag it anywhere I want it. So eventually I'll make a tug, but yeah. So it has some shaping issues that I need to work on. But again, in this video, I kind of just want to get, or in this live stream, I kind of want to get it, get it where it was. I want to make sure this functions to the point of that it will float in the water. Because next step is, get engines on this sucker. And once I have some engines on this, I can start to concern myself with, I can taxi out. And then it's going to be, if I know it floats, I can take off and land it in the water and do water tests that way. It's going to be much more efficient to do it that way. Let me out of this contraption, please. Thank you. There we go. Okay. It's going to hit the wing, but I should be able to turn it out. So this has edited grip tires, so the seaplane's going to slide a heck of a lot easier than the Mac's going to slide. It is heavy though, this plane. Mac does not like pulling it at the moment. Get a picture here in a second. It's a pretty good pick there. So the tail definitely needs some work. Tail's ugly as sin, but that's something I can work on. Like the middle tires are rolling, the other ones are not. Are these tires rolling? They are. I don't know why this is having so much trouble pulling this. I was hoping I need to get this up to speed enough that I can get it in the water. Don't know why this is struggling. Like, notice how the middle tires are pulling and the other tires are not. Let's do this. I have to do a new pull, but whatever. Let's grab... I think how to do this best. Let's do this. It might be high enough that it's also trying to pick it up off the ground, and that's giving it some weight issues, but let's try that. That way I can pull it from either side. All right, that's rolling much better. I can actually steer this a little bit too. It's late to do it now, but what I should have done was put a rope anchor on the front too, so that I could just drag it by sea vehicle. It's actually turning all right too. Yeah, the wheels just were, I don't know, the wheels were bogging down. They didn't like having the wheels there. It's turning well now. All right, let's go ahead and get this sucker out of the way. Switch the Mac, get this in the water. You know, smaller size would have been helpful, but, you know, one of my goals with this is to have 2 containers. I have the Sky Tim. I haven't shown off the Sky Tim, I don't think, in any of these videos, but, you know, I'll probably do a career build series video with the Sky Tim. That could be finished at some point, too. What I'll probably do is just import the actual cockpit of some other stuff. Yeah, it does look pretty nuts in motion. The tail, the front section, I love. The tail is kind of a mess. The belly could use some sculpting. The issue is where the cargo containers sit. I might sacrifice some of my upper deck for push the cargo up. We'll see. There we go. Okay, let's get this moving. All right, that's much better. It was dragging the wheels for some reason. Definitely needs a lot of sculpting. You know, it's pretty much a box, and that's how I start. Start with a box. Oh, come on. Wings could probably thin a little bit front to back. They're looking a little fat. That'll also make them look a little bit longer. They could even slide back some, but you know, it's actually not that hard because we already have the body integration parts. Just trying to get in the water, you know. And I just want to see if this floats right. You know, the containers are tough to move with air vehicles. You have to have a pretty big air vehicle to move them. You know, 2 of them. I have 2 of them in there. If I had 1, I could really cut it down some, but I have 2, so. Trying to get enough of a head of steam that I don't have to slow down and I can get it. I just want to get it into the point where it floats. If there's a hole in this, there'll be many tears because, you know, it's such a pain to get it out to the water. But, you know, again, I need to do this once. I need to make sure this floats once. If it floats, and it floats the way I want it to float, I can then go ahead and I can get it working where it will take off from an airfield. I turned on infinite fuel so I don't need air, so I can run my tractor into water. There we go, starting to float. It is floating. Okay. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. Need to separate this fast enough that it... There we go. Need to hold this up until the truck slides down. There we go. She floats, she floats. She floats pretty much where I want her. Little bit low in the water, but we can work with that. So bigger pontoons. So let me put that. So we definitely need bigger pontoons. And what I might do is I really want these long gear, but if I run into issue with the long gear, I can go body gear. I need to have just a little bit more. This is about where I want it in the water. So let's look. I like it. I like it with the pinnacle sitting there in the water. All right, so that is looking great in the water. It's floating well. As you see, if you look at the tail, see how the tail's sitting high? That's what we want. And the reason we want that is I can easily fix that by pushing some mass in the tail. I also need the horizontal tail plane. This wing's going to shrink up a little bit. It's going to probably go in 4 more blocks towards the front. Thin that out a little bit. The wing might go back a little bit, but pontoons, they don't have a ton of air ballast in them. Let me see if I can't get in there without breaking it. But so I could fix that with making these wedges. So if these are wedges, and I'll make these much bigger so they'll be taller. Proportionally, they don't look that big, which is good. Means I can put them in there. But this is floating pretty nicely. Let's make sure we don't have any leaks. Cargo containers don't like. They're balancing on this bar. But this is in here, and this is working pretty well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the nose work. I'm already having issues with buoyancy in the nose, so making the nose split might be a problem. So what I might do is an elevator. And so what I would do is right about here I'd put an elevator, and I don't know how wide this is, but I have to look. And so essentially the elevator would slide the containers on the top, but we will see. I want to get some vehicles in there, but this is floating. That's kind of where I wanted to get it to. It needs to go higher. That's just, the way it is. It has to go higher. But I have some tricks up my sleeves. I could fatten up the body just a hair, but I could do bigger pontoons. So that is pretty good. That gets us where we need to be. I think that is good progress on this. I have a bunch of tricks up my sleeve to get this to work, so. Okay. Let's recall this. So let me take some more pictures. I just want to make sure I have all the, because this is a project getting this in the water. So I want to have some photographs of like where I'm sitting in the water, so I know what I can do with it. Like this, if I can bring the tail down, that lifts the nose up. Could make a sacrifice to go to one container. It's not the end of the world. We're going to be adding engine weight, which puts more center of gravity in the forward. So probably move the front of the wings back 4 blocks, I'm thinking. Horizontal tail plane needs to go in. If need be, we can pivot glitch it. I'd rather not. The body needs sculpting. As you can see, it's very square here, but that's to be expected. You have to do some sculpting. So I think that's some good progress. That is really good, I think. I think we're starting to get where we need to be on this vehicle. You know, I can also add some like body shaping here for more buoyancy. Let's work on pontoons really quick, and then we'll probably call it in a minute. So these pontoons, what we can do is all of this. Let's do wedges. So any flat section should be a wedge. That gives us more air. So I just kind of want to get these to the point where I know symmetry on it is. Okay, thankfully. So we'll just do these pontoons, and I think we'll call it, take a break. Need to work on some, take a break and work on some videos later for the week. So what do you got here? One, then wedge, one, then wedge. Okay, so right here. So I need to cut this there. It's a pain that I can't just spawn this at the dock, but you know, I wanted this to kind of be a challenge here, so that's wrong. That should be like this. Nope, it isn't. What the hell am I doing here? Right here. Yep, okay, good. All right, so that just kind of fulfills, that's kind of get me started on what I'm doing there, pontoon shaping wise. But this is getting along, so a little bit smaller wing, I think. Work on integrating the gear. What's the mass? 20,000, so it's not that heavy. Need some sculpting. You know, this is fat in here, but yeah, it's coming along. Thanks. Yeah, I think it's definitely a couple hours of work is a good start. You know, I'm probably not going to jump right back in on this right away, but yeah, let's do this. Kind of finish up. Let's save real quick. If I forget to save, there'll be many tiers. So give you guys a little sneak peek of something. So this week's videos, you know, the last week's videos too, pretty much. But first couple videos of this week are going to be continuing with the Akranal plan. So the Akranal plan is not done. Nothing's ever done, but it is to the point where it is able to be used in games. So I figure I'll show you guys. We'll do a quick little flight in the Akranal plan, and you can kind of see where it's at. And then if you want to watch the videos coming up this week, you'll see what it looks like. So let's give a little tour in here. So this door automatically closes if it senses water in the vehicle. That way, I have this on some of the other planes. The Cormorant will automatically do that so you don't flood. Medical bed, we have some seating there. If we come towards the back here, we have the start of a lavatory. We have some supplies here, welding, mostly repair stuff there. We have a sleeping section here with, is that on the powered? That might be on the powered section. Am I on infinite electricity? I am not. Okay, good. So let's go ahead. We'll turn on the master power. I think I might have accidentally put that on the power breaker. That should not be in the power breaker. All right, and we have storage underneath the bed. That's in the power breaker. It should not be. As you see, we have pump outs for all of this. So if any of it floods, it will undo it. We have 10 seats here. Plenty of seats for peeps. Go ahead and we'll take a quick flight in the Akranal plan. So, engine's coming on. Yeah, I don't think there'll be any real spoilers with this. It's mostly buildings, so. Let's go ahead and we'll set an altitude of 10 feet. Go ahead and we'll bring the prop up to about 10%, a little more than 10%. Start taxiing out. Now just taxi out past the pier. And once we get past this pier, we'll rip and we'll get out of here. All right, let's start increasing our prop. Go up to about 40% prop and let's go. And let's set a heading of 090. We'll go to the east. Go full throttle. Oh, we have infinite fuel on. I don't want that on. I wonder why we're going so fast. So you see, we're doing about 190 knots. Is infinite fuel still on? It is not. Okay, it's settling itself back to where it should be. So this should go about this goes about 100. There should be no wake. It's above the wake, but it goes about 170 knots. You know, goes about 170 knots. You know, with the what do you call it on infinite fuel, it was gaining more performance. But need to fix a little bit of a jitter there with some with just a p-value number. But nice and fast, really efficient, and this does really well, getting me places. Like right here is the refinery island, so I'll kind of show you how quickly we can get to the refinery island, which is where we would be transporting diesel. So one of the reasons I wanted this was with the new mechanic, if we need diesel, I want to be able to get there quickly. And so this is a good way. We move... Oh, what do we move? 3,000 gallons. Manifold pressure. So essentially, manifold pressure is prop. So essentially what I do is you run it as high as you can to get the max speed. So essentially, I'll move it here. So like if we go to 70, we get 66. If we go above that, we start going down. So what you want to do is you want to figure your best speed. So your best speed is about 68. When you're landing and taking off, you want to have a low pitch, high RPM setting. And what that's going to do for you is that's going to make it so that you can very quickly do power changes. That's a real life thing too. You want low pitch, high RPM, and that allows you to quickly change how the engine's running. And then if you go full propeller, so you go a high manifold pressure, you'll notice the speed drops off. We lose a lot of RPM, but we don't lose that much speed, and so that gives us really good efficiency. So even at 100% propeller, we're still doing 150 knots, but we're using about 40% less fuel, or 40% less RPM. So we're using less fuel, we're making less heat. So that's kind of my other setting. So here's the refinery island. As you can see, we're already there. Autopilot's going to come off. I'm going to go low pitch, and I'm going to start bringing my throttle back here. And we should come in for a landing here. And so you see, that's about how quick it takes me to get in here to do a diesel mission, to get some diesel. And then when I'm on the water, I can go in reverse. And then taxi, I do about 10%. That will keep it so that I don't... I can quickly change my speed. Again, the less load you're putting on the engine, the more quickly you can make power changes. And so that's something you really have to worry about IRL when you're, you know, when you're coming in for landing and stuff. You want to be able to have very responsive engine controls. So I'm trying out some new rudders here, water rudders. They work pretty well. The issue is you have to kind of watch your speed. About 6 to 9 knots is the best for taxiing. So let's go ahead and we'll go forward here. go full left rudder, and we'll start to go forward here. As you can see, we get pretty reasonable turning rate on the water here. I have to keep it will try to come up out of the water if we start getting too fast, so I have to keep the speed down. We get better turning effectiveness. But it takes a little practice, but I can steer it into the gantries and take on diesel and pretty quickly go do a run. This is also, I've also been testing this with rescue. This is set up for rescue, so it's very fast and efficient for doing rescue missions. You know, it takes a little bit of time in the water to be able to maneuver, but that's kind of part of it's a game element. You know, IRL, you see where the props are. Those propellers would be blowing so much air over that that rudder on the tail that it would turn us no problem, but we don't get that effect in game. So, not going to be able to steer it in here. I'd have to back out again, but you kind of see what I'm working with here. And then I can back up with my propeller put in reverse. And then we work our way in there. You know, usually I'd kind of come at a little bit further out, and that way I can better steer in. Let's get turned here. Still working with these rudders, seeing how I like them. But yep, so you put that in there. I've already done one diesel mission where I've filled up diesel, so. And I can also do kind of like a 3-point turn here and just kind of kick the propeller into reverse, steer it a little bit, and then, you know, steer it forward again when I'm ready. That takes a little bit of getting used to. I'm still working on how much steering I need in here. You know, again, like I said, you'd have so much prop wash going over that rudder IRL that you wouldn't have any issue with steering this on the water. It would just, you know, turn like a dream. That's why like real seaplanes can easily turn in the waters. They'll have water rudders too, but a little sneak peek of that. So, let's see. Yeah, I don't want to add any props. I was thinking about that, but I really don't want to add any propellers. I'm gonna keep working with fins, trying to get a better steering system in there. I'll eventually get it tweaked out enough. Might hide some small fins just to increase efficiency of turn, but that's something I'll have to play with. But yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could add in propeller yaw to try to twist it. I might do that as well. I add to that. Put a water sensor or something so I can use the rudder yaw when I'm steering with that. But all right, guys, I think I'm gonna end it there. I think we made some good progress on that. You know, I don't know when I'm gonna touch that again. That was a good. You know, that was fun working on that seaplane. That's on the huge side. That's going to have some interesting issues. Again, you know, one of the main issues is I have to spawn it at a hangar just because it's so huge. But once I get it up and running, you know, the main thing was to test the floating. It floats. And because it floats, I know that I can move ahead with putting engines in it, putting landing gear in it. The fundamentals of it floating works. And so because the fundamentals of it floating works, I can get it so that it flies. Once it flies, I can take it off from here, land it on the water, and then I can start working on making sure it floats well, making sure it takes off out of the water, make sure all that stuff. So that was the main thing, is get it structurally sound, get it in the water, make sure it floats, and then I'm going to go back, work on landing gear, work on pontoons, make sure I can get it, you know, do all 4 engines, get it flying, and then I can take it off, land it in the water. Okay, how's it perform in the water? Okay, it needs this, 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 and this. Recall it, work on it, put it back in the water. So that should work well. The cargo is going to be a pain. If the cargo ends up not being able to work right, where I can do containers, it's not a big deal. I'll convert it to kind of a rescue and living vehicle. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.